ladies, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Jax, and this is usually where I share my journey through infertility, IVF, adoption, parenting, and now pregnancy. Today's video is going to be my 7-week update. I do need to put a trigger warning in front of this video. If you were triggered by miscarriage, pregnancy loss, blood, or mild cursing, then this video isn't for you. It's a little different of a vibe than my normal updates, so I apologize in advance for that, and I totally understand if this is not a video that you can participate in. So let's just start from the beginning. I turned 7 weeks on Friday, and on Friday I had a noticeable decrease in nausea, which is good, but it is also kind of a trigger for me because that was one of the symptoms that something was wrong in my previous pregnancy. But I tried not to think too much of it, tried to just enjoy the fact that I could eat a meal for once, and get on with my day. I had Monday off because it was Columbus Day, and actually got a bunch done, filmed a bunch, filmed a collab, and then in the afternoon I started bleeding. And I actually sat down and filmed a little bit of that, so I will play that footage here. Just got done filming a collab video, and I went to the bathroom, and there was so much blood. Not like spotting's worth, like definitely like the beginning of a period amounts, kind of still on the reddish brown side, but enough to scare me. So I've never had bleeding during a pregnancy. I stared for so long. I didn't believe it. Like I said, it's never happened before. So I called the husband because he only works in the office 1 day a week now. And of course it's today. So of course he's not here. So I called him just to tell him to keep his phone close to him, honestly, because I'm gonna monitor the situation and see what happens. I don't even know what to do. It's not like they can do anything. And I literally, earlier today, I just scheduled our like 9-week scan. That's 2 weeks away. I just don't even know what to do. I don't know who to call or text next either. We just saw them like a week ago. We just had our ultrasound. Everything was fine, and there wasn't any like hemorrhages or bleeds on the ultrasound. So this is just so much blood. So like something would have had to develop and pass in like a week. So as you can tell, I was trying my best not to freak out. I knew that, you know, some bleeding is normal. I've had a subchorionic hemorrhage before, but it never bled. But I was trying to be really reasonable and just say I needed to wait and see what happens. So I was having, you know, brown and red bleeding. I called the husband to let him know and just to be on standby in case I needed him to rush home, in case we needed to go to the ER. I just told him to be on standby. And after, I think like an hour or two, you know, literally a few hours later, like the bleeding had stopped. It'd gone completely to just, you know, spotting and was gone. And honestly, by the next morning, I had kind of just, I don't know, just taken it and absorbed it and moved on. I was like, okay, that happened. It was just a little bit of bleeding, and yeah, it was scary. There was red, but you know what? Moving on. It stopped. Later on in that afternoon, when I was 7 weeks, 4 days, I started bleeding again. And this time it was really red. It was really red, and it was just a lot. I mean, it was kind of like just a period. So I was freaking out, obviously, and had lost my cool by that point. And I was like, I don't know who to call. I don't know if I should call the fertility clinic. I don't know if I should call my OB, because I hadn't been in to see her for this pregnancy yet. So the husband was like, just call the OB, see if they can do anything. And I called, and all the nurses were busy, so I was on hold waiting for a nurse. I had explained that I was bleeding. They're like, okay, we'll get you to talk to a nurse, just hold on. And while that happened, I passed a large chunk of tissue. That's the best way I can describe it. in that moment, that's what I thought. It was about the size of a quarter, so if you're not in the US, quarter. And it was red and white, not to get too graphic, but just so you understand my state of mind, it didn't look like, you know, something you might pass during a period, you know, just lining or anything like that. Like it was round and had like red and white in it. And I'm not medical, you can obviously tell, a medical professional, so I didn't know what it was. But at that point I thought it was so big and the baby is so small at that point. I was like, it was the right size to be the baby and let, you know, the amniotic sac and everything. I was like, this could be it. I don't know. I didn't really want to look at it or poke it or do anything with it. And I just shut down. And remember, I'm on hold. I'm on hold with the nurse. So she gets on and she's like, so I understand you know, had some bleeding. And I was like, I think I just miscarried. I think I just miscarried and I don't know what to do. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can get you a 4:30 slot, you know, to come in that day and see the doctor and get an ultrasound. You know, I'll call you back. And she's like, if you start bleeding more than, you know, maxi pad an hour, like go to the ER. I was like, okay. So at this point, we're trying to scramble to do. I put my mom on standby to pick up E, which of course is like a huge red flag when you're like, hey, can you pick up the baby today? And so, because it took, the office that she was gonna have us go to was a good 20-minute drive, and it was 4 o'clock, and I was like, well, if we're gonna make it there by 4:30, we gotta go. We might not be back in time to pick up the baby, like something's gonna have to happen. So I put her on standby, we get in the car, start driving towards this office, she calls me back, and it's like, I can't get you in today, I can get you in 8:30 tomorrow, is that okay? And I was like, it's that or go to the ER, like, and there's no point, I guess. There's nothing they can do if the baby's still alive, and yeah. And I'm trying to be real factual with this, just, it was a really stressful, horrible time, and I don't need to get on here and cry about it. I just want to tell you what's up. So we go, I tell my mom to stand down, we go get Evangeline, and you know, all they've told me is stay off your feet today for tonight, drink a lot of water. I was like, okay, thanks. And they're like, take, you know, whatever pain medicine you need for the cramps. Because I was cramping at that point. I was like, okay, go get E. Kind of just autopilot through our night until she goes to bed. And the husband's like, do you want to watch a movie? I was like, I guess. And I had a bit of a breakdown at some point during that movie, or right before we started. I just was freaking out, you know, I didn't understand why this was happening. I thought, you know, we'd lost another pregnancy, and my whole mind had just spun out. It had completely spun out into, I can't do this again, we're gonna have to abandon that embryo, like this just isn't gonna work, screw it, you know, we'll just have Evangeline, like why are we even trying to have another kid, we're so greedy, just like leave it be. And it was just spinning off in 100 directions, you know. And I think that's what happens when a type A mind breaks down like that. It's just, well, let me try to plan for every infinite possibility, and then it just implodes. So we watched Shazam, which was an okay movie. Went to bed, cried some more, got up the next day. Oh, and I also emailed work and said I was gonna be out the next day, and moved meetings. I mean, it's such a shitty thing, like, you're going through all this, but you still have to be a flipping adult and move meetings and let your boss know what's happening and figure out childcare. It's always so baffling in these horrible moments, like, shit, we still have to, like, buy groceries and pay bills, and, like, you still have to function. You just want to sit very still and let time go past. Anyway, so get up the next morning, go to the OB's office, and this is where things really go downhill very, very fast. Come in, they're doing their COVID check, and this, let me describe who's doing this COVID check. It is this like 18-year-old kid who's clearly here as like some part-time gig. He tells me that my husband can't come in with me, and I'm done. I am done. I yell at this kid. I tell him that, you know, I have lost my baby and I just want, like, I can't go in there alone, and he's policy, and he just he's like, okay, okay. He runs and gets the receptionist. And I'm gonna tell you something. This receptionist acted like a bitch, and I will stand by that shit. She did not assess this situation correctly. I apologize to the kid. The kid could not have handled this. Like, at the end, I apologize to the kid. But this receptionist, I was like, she was just so insensitive this entire time. This entire time. And at first I thought I was being ridiculous until the rest of the staff interacted with me in an appropriate manner. And I was like, oh no, she was a bitch. Got it. Awesome. Cool. That's a side note. Later observed thing, obviously. So they say he can't come in, that the doctor has to come and okay it. But then they let me in to sit in the waiting room alone for like a flipping half hour. And then the sonographer is like, Jordan, come in. And I get past the door and I was like, I can't go into the sauna room. I just can't. That is my biggest trigger. I can't go into a sauna room alone. You know, a pregnancy sauna, like follicle scans, whatever, but like a pregnancy sauna, I can't do it. That's where we get our bad news. I can't do it. She's like, okay, where is he? I'll get him. And they immediately get him back. And I was like, so what was all this nonsense? Why was I alone? Why were you forcing me to sit in a waiting room and cry in front of all these other people too? Like, this whole situation made me so angry, and I yelled at so many people that day. And looking back on it, I'm like, no, I feel like I was a little bit justified. Like, you're an OB office, you have to deal with this all the time. Like, why did this feel like you'd never seen someone going through a crisis before? Made me angry now to think back on it. Of course, I was just crying and trying not to like hyperventilate. So we go into the sauna room, and they always think like you've never had a transvaginal ultrasound. She's like, have you had one? I'm like, 100. I've had 100. Like, can we skip all this BS? And I just still think, like, we're just confirming that the baby's gone. Like, clearly there's too much blood, there's too much lot. Like, it was just too much. And she says that there is a baby with a heartbeat. And for the next 10 minutes, I just don't process anything. Really. I just can't comprehend, like, how we've had all this. What the hell was that massive amount of tissue I passed? What was that? I don't know. And how is there a baby with a heartbeat? She says that they're measuring exactly 7 weeks, 5 days, which is exactly what I was that day, and it was all fine. I did pay attention enough, and I'm glossing over some bits in there because personal stuff, right? Anyway, as she's, you know, she turned the TV back on because I'd made her turn it off, and she turned it back on, and, you know, I can see the baby, everything's fine, but I also see the big black crescent, and I'm still like, I don't ask any questions because my mind is still just processing what she told me, but like stored for later in the back of my mind is the fact that I'm like, oh, that's not good. I mean, it was just so much of the circumference of the baby was just had that big black ring around it, and I was like, that's not good, that's blood, that's something bad. They take me back to the exam room. They make him leave again. The doctor comes in, and I love her, by the way. You know, as you can tell, the peripheral staff is not the best at this place, but I love her. And she comes in, and she's way more sensitive. She gets where I'm coming from. And she's like, you have a subchorionic hematoma. Essentially, the baby, what will be the yolk sac, has pulled away from the uterine wall. She said it's not a huge one. It's 2 to 3 centimeters. She's like, a huge one would have been 8 to 9. So she's like, that would be catastrophic. So this is on the lower end, but it's still obviously consequential, obviously. And she explains that that's essentially what happened is it came away from the wall, it bled a bunch, mixed with, I forget what chemical hormone she said it mixed with the blood to make it coagulate like that and turn red and white. She's like, those mixed together formed that and then expelled it. And essentially what's going on from that point is it's just bleeding. It's just a wound now that you have there. And we just have to wait and see what happens. What they want is for the baby to grow and grow and grow and kind of press up against that again, kind of like you would press any wound to stop the bleeding. she's like, that would be the best thing, is for it to kind of just disappear as the baby gets bigger and presses against it and stops it bleeding. She's like, it could get bigger, which could cause a miscarriage, or it could seal back off, but there's not much they can do. I got put on pelvic rest as well as take it easy order. She's like, you don't have to be on bed rest, but don't do anything. She asked when my next appointment was, and I told her it was 2 weeks away. She's like, okay, for the next 2 weeks, pelvic rest, don't do anything, take it really easy, drink a lot of water, and call if the bleeding gets a lot worse. I was like, okay. So I took that day off, and I took the next day off just to emotionally recover, because it was just 40 hours. I went from everything's fine to I definitely think this baby's gone to everything's okay-ish, you know? Kind of, we're in just this holding pattern of, it's not perfect, but it's not catastrophic yet. And so now we're just in a weird holding pattern. So we've gotten a lot of help from family and friends to take care of stuff. I mean, we have a 1-year-old, and now I'm essentially told to just sit still, and that puts a lot of pressure on my husband, who's also in a very pressure-filled job right now. So we've been getting help. It's still just really frustrating. I inadvertently start doing a chore or something, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be doing this, and go sit down. On top of that, Evangeline has had a really big flare-up of her eczema and diaper rash, and so she hasn't been sleeping through the night, which just adds to it. So that's why you're getting this today. I didn't feel like climbing up and down the stairs a bunch, not supposed to gather all my stuff and get it ready, and this was just easier. Like I said, I'm sorry that this is not the quality you're used to. I think everyone will give me a break on that. I also just didn't feel like you gave a damn that my pants don't fit this week. Like, I don't think you care that I ordered maternity leggings. Like, I think this was definitely like what we've been dealing with this week. And to top it all off, this was all the day that we finally got our appointment and everything was okay, was the wave of light, which I'm sure if you're on Instagram, you saw everyone posting the wave of light. Essentially, it's a day where you light a candle at 7 p.m. your local time, and then a wave of light, a wave of candles goes across the world as everyone remembers all the babies that left this world too soon, that left, you know, that were miscarried, that were stillborn, that didn't make it to their parents' arms for long enough. So it was just really hard to then, you know, get hit with that, and just, yeah, just to be faced with it and the reality of it, and you know, light my candle for baby S and baby E, and just wonder if, you know, I should be lighting one more, you know? It was a hard week, and like I said, I've been real good this whole video to not like break down or anything. I think it's just because I'm just tapped out emotionally, and we just need to make it till the next appointment, which is always the next thing, right? That's it. Sorry for this. I shouldn't say sorry, but like, I know this isn't exactly a fun update. This is a hard update for me. It's a hard update for you. So I appreciate your support and your prayers and your good thoughts and good vibes, because I honestly can't contemplate what's gonna happen if this pregnancy doesn't make it. So I need to keep on fighting, eh? Bye.